Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is going to be my new makeup releases for November. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. I have kept track of some new makeup releases again. I've selected the ones that stood out to me. There are 39 of them. I do this once a month. Let's chat new makeup releases because it's the holiday season. We're getting all of the releases and we're getting a lot of palettes. So we all know this is my favorite season to shop makeup. So I was very tempted by some of these. Let me just get to it. So I already mentioned this first release in my video last month, but at the time, only the Spice palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills was announced, but they also have announced the Sugar palette. So this announcement came right on the cusp of me filming the previous video. Sometimes I have to film these quite a few days in advance, and then there's always new releases being announced, and I always just push them into the next video that I do. So the Sugar palette looks like a more cool toned version of the Spice palette. That's definitely what it's intended to be. But please tell me, why is the Spice one neutral, and why does the Sugar one suddenly have a mint green and a light blue? I don't get it. Like, you can very easily make a cool tone neutral palette without it having pastels in. I think it looks pretty, don't get me wrong, and I've heard a lot of people being very happy with these little 9 pans from ABH, so I think they're good. It's just that I have plenty of ABH eyeshadow already in my makeup collection, so I'm not super stoked about these. They just look a little bit boring. To be quite fair, if I didn't know this was Anastasia, I would think it was Makeup Revolution, because it just looks cheap to me. Then Natasha Denona has a little holiday set with a eyeshadow palette and an eyeliner, I think, and it's the baby version of the I Need a Nude, and there is a new cheek duo. I've tried some of these things in the past. I had a few of the baby, or like some of the face duos that Natasha Denona did for special collections. They never lasted a very long time in my collection. I think Natasha Denona does eyeshadow really well, but other products that I've tried from the line have always been a little so-so. Some of them I love, and some of them are just really not up my street, so I will be passing up on these. I already have the larger I Need a Nude. I'm very well aware that the small Natasha Denona palettes do not always have exactly the same shades in as the larger palettes, but it's too similar to begin with, and with Natasha Denona, I just feel I'm happy with what I have. I don't need this. So next up is Chanel. They have announced their holiday collection, and where Dior was focusing on lilacs and purples for Christmas, Chanel is doing bright pink. I mean, it's pretty. It's pretty. I'm not gonna lie. It's really pretty. But the highlighter looks a little bit glittery. The eyeshadow doesn't look that pigmented. The lipsticks look fine, but nothing revolutionary. Same with these glosses or liquid there's liquid liners here in like a deep purple and a burgundy. That's like the most exciting things about this entire collection. But other than that, I'm going to be passing up on this one for sure. Wicked Widow Beauty has a Tales of Terror haunting collection. It has 4 bullet lipsticks from what I can tell, and it comes in really beautiful packaging. It's these like more out there kind of lip products with like a grungy purple, an orange, and 2 different types of green. I myself am not someone who goes for lip colors like this, but if that's what you do like to wear, then I think these can be beautiful. But I do know there are plenty of indie brands that do shades like this, so you definitely don't need to go to this brand in particular to get these shades. So I will be passing up on it because it's not for me, but it can be right for some people, I'm sure. There's a new Glamlite collection. Glamlite will be coming up several times in this video because, as I had predicted, closer to Halloween, they started announcing their Halloween collection, but they also came out with a Cherry Coke collection. Who knew? I like the color stories of this. I definitely think it does, but I don't need Cherry Coke themed makeup. I've always liked that Glamlite has like made its identity around these like food and movie IP sort of things, but I don't need all of them. I have a couple of their things that I like. I think I liked their food stuff better when it was still unbranded though. But if the lip glosses, if the lip products in here have Coca-Cola flavor, that might be nice. I now see, by the way, that's Coca-Cola and Cherry Coke, so I think that's nice. If you're a lover of Cherry Coke, then maybe the Cherry Coke palette can be nice, but I think I have shades like this already from their Chucky palette from last year. And Alter Ego has a new release. This is a dupe for the Huda Beauty Pretty Grunge palette that came out last year. This is the Mist Haven. I was gifted some palettes in PR by Alter Ego to test them out, and I had all 3 of the original palettes in my active makeup collection already, so I was able to compare and contrast. A lot of people who have received a lot of PR from Alter Ego have been saying for years how the quality of the Alter Ego palette is the same or sometimes even better than the more high-end things, and I disagreed with it terribly. I did side-by-side swatches to show that to you as well. I felt that a lot of the shades were very muddied up. The shimmers weren't as impactful. I do like, however, how Alter Ego rearranges the color stories very often, because I feel that some of the palettes are given a color story, like an arrangement of the shades in the palette that makes it look more interesting than it actually is. And if I look at the Mist Haven, I was like, yeah. And at first glance, it looks like it's going to be a different palette. Then you're like, oh wait, this is the exact same shades as the Pretty Grunge, which I like. It's a good palette. So if Huda Beauty is out of your budget, then this can be a good one. I do think that for the price you pay, the eyeshadow is decent. However, with me being in Europe and having to import it and then paying the extra shipping and handling fees, it would make it about as expensive as getting the original Huda Beauty palette. So unless you're in the US, it doesn't make a lot of sense to be buying this. More ABH. This is a new liquid lipstick and a champagne highlighter. So there's 2 shades in the highlighter and 4 shades in this liquid lipstick. And it's like, does ABH want 2016 to happen again? Because in 2016, they were the pioneers of highlighters and liquid lipsticks in the mainstream. I remember going out of my way to find ABH in store, I think in 2017? I don't know, I don't remember, maybe 2016, I don't remember exactly. But I went out of my way to find an Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipstick. I remember that. And who remembers the craze of those first ABH highlighters that came out? That only had like a few people had them. That was the whole thing. And these highlighters remind me a lot of that release. It's like they're trying to regain their popularity, it seems. That's just what it speaks to me. I don't need these products in my life. Maybe you do. I don't. Dolce & Gabbana has a new foundation out. I've never tried Dolce & Gabbana makeup. I think I've seen it around. I think the French Sephora on the Champs-Élysées has it in stock, so I've been able to browse it, but nothing has grabbed me to be able to warrant this kind of price point for makeup. I mean, it's luxury for a reason. The products are probably really nice. It's just, for me, there's like a certain threshold of what I'm like willing to pay for things. And it's not really something I'm stretching. Like these super luxurious brands that we've been seeing doing makeup the past couple of years, Valentino, Paco Rabanne, Dolce & Gabbana, Hermes, they're all lines that do not interest me. So this sort of fits into that category for me. Jason Wu has some new blushes. This is not a brand I can get my hands on because I think they're an Ulta exclusive. So only if you're in the US you would be able to get your hands on it. But they do a lilac shade, so I do wanted to shout them out here. I love a good lilac blush, and if brands do that, you know I'm game. However, I do feel all 5 of these shades are very samey. Nothing is overly dark, nothing is overly light, so depending on where you fall into the skin tone spectrum, I don't think these are going to be super inclusive. There is a new release from Nomad. This is the Chicago Speak Easy, and this looks absolutely stunning. We all know that I don't normally go for warm tones, but those reds are calling my name. It's got some really pretty dusty purples on one side of the palette, a row of greens, and that row of like reddish brown tones that is just calling my name. I just feel that this palette, color story wise, wouldn't add anything interesting to my personal makeup collection, which is why I'm holding off on it. However, you'll see at the end of this video, I've just found out that Nomad is now teasing their Christmas release. And maybe for Black Friday, if they do like a good bundle deal or something like that, or if you can get a discount off, and the Christmas palette they do is interesting, that I might just throw this into a cart. But this isn't like something I want to place an order with Nomad with specifically for that palette. Even though, yes, I know they now ship from Ireland, so if you're in the EU, you no longer have to pay for additional custom fees, which makes them a little bit more affordable. But I was like, I'm gonna hold out, I'm gonna see what they're releasing first, and then maybe for Black Friday, I can pick something up, but I'm not sure. I have a pretty solid idea already of what I want to get in the Black Friday sales, and it's probably not going to be Nomad for now, so that's fine by me. Beauty Bay has a new release out for holiday as well. This is the Celestial Charms, and is it just me, or does this look exactly like the Opulence they did a couple of years ago? I used to own that, decluttered it, and I just feel I can see loads of similar shades from that palette in this. With Beauty Bay, I have now found out that their limited edition ones are the things I need to stay away from. I like the Smoky palette, which is from their regular range, a lot better than the quality I have tried from their limited edition stuff. So I think with Beauty Bay, you're best off getting the regular palettes that they do throughout the year, and that you are better off skipping these limited edition things. And then I was hoping that something like this would happen. Makeup by Mario has a new Celestial Eyes palette. This is the Moonlight palette. I love the first Ethereal Eyes palette. I got it last year when it came back in stock. I missed out on it initially, and my philosophy is if I miss out on limited edition stuff, I don't mind it, because apparently we weren't meant to be. You know, that's just how I feel. But then the Ethereal Eyes came back in stock last year. I snatched it up. I bought it from the original Makeup by Mario website because it wasn't around anywhere in the EU. It came back, like it came into stock in EU and UK retailers a couple of months later. So part of me wished I had waited, but because it was expensive to get it from the Makeup by Mario website. But this one was released globally instantly, so I love that for me because I was able to pick this up from Sephora in France, so I only had to pay like €5 for shipping. And I didn't have to pay additional custom fees, and it was here within a week. So yes, this is one I already ordered. You know who I am. I love a good cool tone. There are plenty of neutrals in here as well. There is some warmth, but it's only like 1 or 2 shades in my brain. And one of the things I liked about the original Ethereal Eyes is that it looks really warm toned in the pan. But then when I use it on my face, I felt there were enough shades that worked for me. Again, there were only like 1 or 2 really true warm tones in there, and everything else was warm or cool, and I feel that that's the case with this palette as well. I haven't swatched it yet. I'm gonna sit down and take loads of pictures after I sit down to film this video, so I can't wait to swatch it. It's gonna go into my December review because that's when I will show it to you in a haul. It sadly wasn't here yet when I sat down to film my November haul for you guys, but yeah, this one of course I had to get my hands on. I had to. There are going to be 2 palettes by this brand. I think one is coming up really soon. This is the Warlords of the Woods. Warlords of the Woods, I can't say it, by Dievroon. I don't know exactly how to pronounce this. I found this on Monolith, and it's 2 palettes. One of them is, both of them are 9 pans, and I like the second one better. So this one has those like foresty sort of vibes with the browns, some interesting shimmers. This is an indie brand from the US that I've never tried before, and they are available on Monolith, but they tend to sell out quite quickly. So I was like, you know what, because I wasn't really, because I was traveling in October, I was like, I'm not going to buy too much makeup online, so I have a bit more budget for when I'm traveling, and I just spend it on like nice foods, and I knew I wanted to get books. So I decided to put my money elsewhere instead. This month, and then I think maybe in November, maybe also for Black Friday, I might want to pick this up if it's still in stock on Monolith, but then not this one, but the other one that you'll see in a sec. I was really happy to see this collab announced. I will not be picking it up myself because I don't need these shades, but I think it's such a good collab between Blend Bunny and Robert Welch. This is the Divination collection. It's got a palette, it's got lashes, it's got some lip products, and I think this is such a good collab. Robert Welch is one of the only bigger creators that I truly trust. So I think it just makes sense for him to finally have a collab with a brand that I think fits him really well. We have the quintessential purples because Robert Welch is all about the purples and the grunginess. So I think this is a really good collab, really nice conceptuation behind it. Love this release for him, but it will not be right for me. Here's the other one. This is the other Jeff Rune Cosmetics palette I wanted to try. This is the Witch of the Wildflower. And you might think, Micah, why is this the one you want? But to me, it looks like a more like upscale version of the Shroud Cosmetics It's Freaking Bats that they did with Betty Bean. Apparently Shroud is no longer a thing. Apparently the owner is like, just the entire thing is like shut down or something. I've heard like rumors. Nobody knows what's going on with the brand. But yeah, this looks really pretty. It's got some warmth, but it has purples, greens, and 3 really interesting shimmers. So I thought that this could be a palette that allows me to try this brand and really like just make me test it out, because I've never tried them. So that's why I would go for this one, because it's less similar to other things I already own, I feel, even though I can like see similarities within my collection. The other one reminds me too much of things I already own from Fantasy Cosmetica. So that's why the Witch of the Wildflower is the one I would pick up. I already mentioned Glamlite. Here is their first Halloween collab. This is the Halloween 2 collab that they're doing. So Mike Myers themed. That's Michael Myers. Mike Myers is the actor. Michael Myers, and this has like all of your spooky, grungy shades. I don't love the oranges in here. I get why there are oranges in here because it goes with the theming. But if the oranges weren't there and there were other shades in it, I would have liked it better. Not gonna lie. So I'm not gonna pick this one up. So this is another Jolie Beauty. Like, I keep talking about Jolie Beauty because these are always pushed to me as ads on Instagram, and I never know whether anything is like new from them or whether it's just something that's being pushed. I always get sucked into the imaging that they use in their ads, and I've never tried them. These palettes are just too big for my liking, but my brain finds this very satisfying to look at. Not usable for me because I would need an extra makeup table to be able to spread this out and use it, let alone store it. So I don't think I will be purchasing these. I've heard a lot of people say that they do enjoy the quality. From what I can tell, there are quite a few pressed glitters in these palettes though. So that's why another reason why I'm like, don't think I need it. There is a collab from Fenty Beauty with Arcane. There's a new season of this TV show coming out on Netflix very, very soon. It seems like they've just changed packaging. I don't think there are really like exclusive shades here. Like they remind, or at least I'm not that familiar with the Fenty range, but it just looks like these are just products that were already there and it's just been repackaged, which I don't know. I'm not super excited for this. I don't really have anything, like I don't feel any connection to this IP either. So for me, this is not something I'm interested in, but it can be nice if you never tried Fenty and you like this TV show. You might like it. So I think I only have a video of this, but these are the new Patrick Ta duos. And this has already caused so much controversy online if you're on TikTok, with people claiming that yes, these are really unique and they do something different than the Pearl than compared to other things we've already seen. And then other people saying, well, these new duos or singles from ELF are very similar to it. And then people trying to contest that, saying ELF could never do the same thing because at that price point, you cannot do a product like this, which I definitely think is true, but I think there's truth in all of those sides that I've heard people say. I think there's truth in the fact that this formula is definitely something new and unique that we've not seen before. And that at a very cheap price point like ELF, you cannot make something like this. But I also think there's merit in the statement that the ELF product is going to give you a similar look that may not give you the exact same look as this product does, but that is going to give you a very close idea of what this has to offer if you're not willing to spend $42 on a duo. I'm not sure if these have come to Europe yet. I know there's only very few places that stock Patrick Ta over here. I think is it still only called Beauty? And things sell out super fast on there. I will not be buying these, even though one of my main gripes with Patrick Ta is that it's very matte heavy and that the mattes are really good, but that I don't love the shimmer formula of his palettes. I've tried one of the palettes, the Major Dimension 2, the rosy one. The mattes were amazing. The shimmers, nah. So I will not be picking up these duos for myself. I also don't think any of the colors that they have to offer are really up my street. It seems very warm toned, which is another thing I don't love about Patrick Ta. But these look pretty. If you love really sparkly eyeshadow, I can see why people get sucked into this and buy things like this. But hear me out. If you think ELF isn't a great dupe, check out some K-Beauty and C-Beauty brand, because these really sparkly things sold as duos or singles to go with your matte palettes, K-Beauty did it first. I'm just calling it. K-Beauty did it first. They do so many of these really glitter, sparkly, heavy formulas already, and I just feel that this is like the westernized version of it. So I think that if you want this and you don't want to spend this amount of money, have a browse on YESSTYLE and you're going to find things that are like a quarter off the price point that are just as good. And then one that has my heart and soul. I want this so badly. I'm like stalking this palette on MONOLITH to check whether it's not going to sell out. But this is the new Halloween release from Fenty Cosmetica. It's the Harvest of Souls. I already told you this in the haul I showed you yesterday. I want this. I want this really badly, but I haven't even tried the Autumn palette. So I'm like, I first need to test that out and like test my theory. Fenty Cosmetica is my favorite indie brand of the moment. I love their formula. And I think this color story looks so pretty. So I desperately want this. It's currently still in stock on MONOLITH, so please don't sell it out before I can pick it up, you guys. But I would be buying this with my own money for sure. Even like whatever, like I will. But I think I'm going to wait until the end of November to pick this up because I do know that Fenty Cosmetica has opened up a pre-order because it sold out really quickly on their official website, which is, it doesn't make sense to me anymore since they've become available on MONOLITH to buy it from there. And it's still on MONOLITH, I saw the other day. So yeah, this one and the Witch of the Wildflower palette from Devrune, I don't know how to say it. But those two palettes are on the wish list as something I would like to purchase in the next couple of weeks. I'm not sure when I'm going to buy it. Depending on how the month goes, I might still place an order at like some point in November, but I think I'm going to wait until either MONOLITH has another restock, which I hope they'll have sometime in November, or I'm going to wait until Black Friday and see if they have some sort of sale deal thing going on. Well, we'll see how it goes, but those are the two palettes that are currently still on the wish list. More new products then from Makeup by Mitchell. I feel that this brand just keeps churning out new products all the time. I think there's like 2 eyeshadow palettes that look a little Natasha Denona-esque. Highlighters and blushes. And it's a baked product, the blushes are. Looks pretty, makes sense for them. I actually spotted this brand in Boots when I was in Edinburgh the other day. I traveled to Scotland for my fall break vacation over the past week or so. You'll be able to see a vlog, and I was able to see the products in real life, and I've tried a couple of the liquid products and I just find them too pigmented. That's my only issue. If you love pigmented products, try out Made by Mitchell, but it's not for me. Nabla has some new lip oils. These are the Lip Candy Oil. I think it comes in 3 shades. They look really pretty, really sweet, but lip oils do not have that much pigmentation that you need. Tons of them, and I already have plenty of lip oils in my collection. So I feel that this release came a little bit too late. Like if this came out last year, I think I would have been more excited for it. Tarte has a new collection out for holiday as well, and they do 3 of these mini palettes that I believe come in one set. So buying one thing gives you 3 of these palettes, which if you're shopping for other people for Christmas makes sense because these can be great stocking stuffers for makeup lovers in your life. I definitely think that that's how they're intended to be used. We have a warm toned one, we have this purpley rosy one, and then a neutrally one with a pop of like grayish blue. Nothing super cool toned here. I do enjoy the Tarte formula. I think they're really good, but this doesn't really speak to me. This is not something I want to get my hands on. And then the holiday launch from Natasha Denona. I already said it before, Dior was doing purples and Chanel is doing pinks. Natasha Denona does a bit of both, and I'm like, why are we doing purples and pinks for Christmas? Like, we got grungy things for Valentine's Day a couple of years ago. That I was okay with. but this I just don't really get. And it's just not as purple as it looks. The packaging is what makes it look purple, but essentially you have one purple in the top row and like one purplish toned shimmer in the middle. And everything else is pink or orange. At least that's what it looks like to me. So will I be picking this up? No, I think the packaging looks stunning though. The packaging looks stunning. If I'm going to get a Natasha Denona palette, it's going to be the I Need a Warm, but I still haven't been able to spot it anywhere in store. I hope to be able to finally see it in real life when I travel to Germany at the end of November. No clue. Natasha Denona releases are incredibly delayed where I'm at. By the time I get to Germany in a couple of weeks' time, this will probably not be in stock yet in a store. So I do want to look at these things in real life, especially with Natasha Denona, because a lot of the images online make the palettes look so much more interesting than they actually are. So Natasha Denona I Need a Warm is still a contender, but the Roxa I'm definitely passing up on, even though I know I love the formula of these palettes. I don't need these shades in my life. Glam Shop also has a new release out. This is the Violetta. I don't know. It's got these really pretty sort of floral design on the front of the packaging. Inside, it looks really interesting. It has a full row of neutral mattes, it seems, maybe with one or two shimmers in the bottom. And then it's got like almost a full row of purples, some pink tones. Like if I go Natasha Denona Roxa, I would go for this. And this is not the first time that Glam Shop does this. I don't know how they do this, but they also did this around the Yucca palette, where they also released a palette that had a very similar color story to the Yucca palette, but that did it better than Natasha Denona did in terms of like the colors you got. And if I would like conceptualize the Roxa palette, this is what I would want. So it does have that yellow, which makes it a bit more warm toned. And then it does have like some darker tones, but it has a really nice cool tone, silvery shimmer in the top there. You get plenty of purples in here. There's only two pinks, whereas the Natasha Denona is the other way around. And I do like the look of those neutrals in the bottom row as well. So great release from Glam Shop. I'm currently not really in the market for anything new from Glam Shop. I am enjoying the palettes I have from the brand, but this is a good one. If you like this color story and you've never tried the brand, this one is for you. If you've never tried Glam Shop and you were itching to try them, I think this is a good one. ELF has come out with a new liquid bronzer, I think. Yeah, a liquid bronzer. I thought it was concealer for a hot minute there when I first spotted this, because it looks exactly like concealer, and I just think they're reusing the packaging of the concealer to do the blushes and now also the bronzers. It comes in quite a few shades, it seems, 10 shades, so we love that. And it does seem to have things that are cool toned enough, at least. However, with this kind of product, I can't really see an overview of what all the shades look like swatched next to each other here. If I look at the light shades, I don't think they're going to work for me. Everything looks so yellow and peachy. The lightest one looks a little bit more like a contour shade, but if it's too gray, it's not going to look like a bronzer on me. So, not so sure about the shade range here, but a good release from ELF nonetheless. YSL has new blushes, which come in the same sort of packaging that they have been like repackaging everything into, it seems, with that sort of like quilted design that they also have on their bags. I think it looks really pretty. These look really, really stunning. They have a really nice light pale option, which I love to see. Here's the thing. Again, like with all the blush releases this year, none of these shades are revolutionary. I don't think there is a line out there that doesn't have exactly these kind of shades of blush already. So I don't need this from YSL. I have these shades in my collection. I don't need this in my life. More new Glamlite then. This is the Trick or Treat collection that they're doing. It comes with an eyeshadow palette. It comes with a blush duo. Even has buddy butters and candles and whatnot. Pretty, yes. Do I need it in my life? No. I bought a couple of the Halloween releases from last year because they were right up my street. This year's, I'm a little less excited for, you could say. We have a holiday release from Colourpop then. This is the Frosty the Snowman. That's what it is, right? Frosty the Snowman. Yeah. Loving the palette. It's really nice light. If you love your light shades, I think you're gonna love this. I think it's very similar though to the, not the Elemental, the other one I have, the Cloud 9. I have that one. So if you already have other Colourpop palettes, I don't think this is going to be revolutionary. It comes with some other products as well, of course, some lipsticks, some lippy sticks. I think there's also some lip scrubs and other products here, a lip balm trio. So yeah, they do some pretty things. I think this is a good release for Colourpop. Is it revolutionary? No, but it does fit with some of the themes they have been doing for their Christmas collections, because a couple of years ago we got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and now they do Frosty the Snowman. So makes sense for them, but I don't need it in my life. Dolce and Gabbana, we have some more things. This is their holiday collection, the Gemstone collection. This just doesn't really look like anything too special. We have 4 lipsticks and we have a quad of eyeshadow. And none of those shades, scream Christmas to me, nor does it really make a lot of sense, because it's not as if the gems on the lipsticks correspond to the lipstick inside. So why is the ruby red one emerald? Please explain. Not you guys, the brand. The brand needs to explain that. So yeah, I will not be buying that. We have the Icy Nude from Huda Beauty. And this is one where I'm like, oh, this is exactly up my street. Apparently it's going to be the final big palette they do, which for some reason, that's actually been a reason why I've seen people purchasing this palette. And I'm like, I would buy it because it has so many great cool tones in. Like, that's the reason why I would purchase it. Yes, it has some warm tones, but it's got really good cool tones as well. However, I've seen some people doing live swatches of it, and a lot of the shimmers in this palette are incredibly textured. So I saw the Lipstick Lesbians swatching this on their TikTok, and they were describing it how it was like, what were they comparing it to? I forgot what they compared it to. But at least they compared it to a formula, the Patrick Ta shimmer formula, which I don't like, because the only way to apply it is with a finger. And that's how they also explained the best way to use the shimmers in this Huda Beauty Icy Nude palette, is to use it with fingers, because it's going to break up the pearl, and the heat of your fingers is needed to like make it go on smoothly onto your lids. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of this. I'm also not sure whether I like all the shades of this. I would have to look at this in store for me to know whether I like this, yes or no. That's definitely something I have to do. I do still have a €5 discount thing for the store where they sell this in the Netherlands. So I can go into store and look at this and have a look, which I will do in the next couple of weeks. To me, it looks like a lighter, more muted down version of the Naughty Nude that came out a couple of years ago. Like a more cool tone version of that. I've seen people comparing this to the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude and saying it's really similar. I've seen people comparing this to the Colourpop Troublemaker and showing that it's really similar. So I own both of those already. So I don't think this would add super, like, really anything to my makeup collection. But I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. I love the Huda Beauty formula. It is a slightly more cool toned offering, so I don't know. I don't know what I do with this one. Like, I think it would make a good, like, use of the gift voucher I have and get a little bit of money off. But I can also see this sticking around for a long time, because I don't think this will appeal to a lot of people. Because it's one of those palettes where I'm like, what are you trying to be? Because it's not super cool toned. Like, it's got all of these warmer rosy things that I think on me are going to pull warm toned. And then you have those 3 sort of like peachy, beigey things all the way to the right. So I think there's already like 6 or 7 shades in here that I would deem too warm toned, which is half the palette almost. See, I like the ones all the way to the left, and like the bottom 3 from there, and then like that silvery thing and the taupey thing and like the darker brown shade. Those I like. So I'm not sure. If I only like half a palette, it's no longer worth purchasing for me. I have to like 75 to 90% of a palette for me to go like, ooh, I'd like that. And I think I just don't like enough here. I would have to swatch it, see it in store to decide. What would you guys do? Let me know in a comment down below. Should I get the Icy Nude from Huda Beauty? Help a girl out, because I can't decide. Part of me wants it. Like, this is really pulling on my heartstrings. Really pulling on my heartstrings. I think the Glamlite Ghost Face palette they did last year was super popular, so they decided to do it again for this year. This is the Ghost Face Returns, and I like this. Of the 3 releases from Glamlite that I've talked about in this video so far, this is the one I like the best. However, here's why I'm not going to buy it. Because it has those warm tones. Why are there warm tones in this otherwise perfectly cooler tone color story? If those 2 browns towards the right of the palette had been grays, I would have liked this so much more. And again, I don't really need this as well, because if I combine my palettes that I bought last year, I have the Chucky, I have the Friday the 13th, and I have the Ghost Face Lives. If I combine those 3 palettes, I think I can recreate this color story, because the brighter red is in the Friday the 13th, and like some of those deeper reds are in the Chucky palette, and then the grays are all going to be in the Ghost Face Lives. So I don't think I need this. I think I can recreate this very, very easily, but this is the one of the 3 of Glamlite that has come out this year. And you were to ask me, Micah, which is the one that you are interested in, it would be this one. There was a new fragrance from Beyonce, and who still remembers the day that Beyonce's Heat was the fragrance to buy? But for some reason, celebrities have decided to stop pushing these more affordable fragrances that you can buy from your local drugstore, and have converted, like shifted their focus to these niche sort of fragrances, because this one for 50 mils is going to retail for $160. I mean, I love a bit of Beyonce, but if I'm going to spend this much money on a fragrance, I'm not going to buy a Beyonce fragrance. I'm terribly sorry. This is just, I don't know. Whatever happened to the affordable celebrity perfume? Oh well. Kiko Milano has a holiday collection out as well. This is just a selection of what they have to offer. There are palettes, there's a whole host of things. Later this month, I am going to be doing a full face of Kiko Milano, but I have tried almost everything that brand has to offer, so I only bought a couple of bits and pieces to sort of update my collection and repurchase some of my favorites so I can do that video. But I figured, you know what? I have plenty of Kiko products already in my makeup collection. There's no need to get this influx of new Kiko Milano makeup in just for the sake of filming a video and then decluttering it later, because none of the products in this limited edition collection looked interesting to me. Something you're gonna see if you look into a lot of the Kiko Milano limited edition collections is that what they do is that they will repackage other limited edition products that came out like a year and a half ago, and now they're pushing it as their holiday collection. A lot of the products that Kiko releases limited edition come back over time. So I don't feel this is anything unique. It doesn't add anything to the brand's line at all. A lot of the Kiko Milano limited editions are also really warm toned, so it doesn't really go with my coloring very well. So I decide to usually pick and choose from Kiko's regular range and just leave it at that. So I have some exciting things to show you, to update you on, but I will be doing a full face makeup look with all of my Kiko favorites. There is some Smashbox lipsticks. We haven't really heard much about Smashbox. I was afraid almost they were disappearing, but then I spotted them in Sweden, so they're definitely still around. They've just been pulled off the Dutch market, I think. And these look pretty. They're red lipsticks. What else can you say? They seem to have a metallic finish. Not really my cup of tea, but I think for the brand it does make sense, and I think it can be lovely for them. Beauty Curations has a collaboration with Bratz. Of course, we need more IPs in our life, I think. And then this is just something that's being teased. This is by Lethal Cosmetics. It's their Spellcraft palette. or collection. I don't know if it's just a palette. It just doesn't say. And it says here that it's going to be released for Black Friday. So if you look like Lethal Cosmetics, they may be something to look out for, because they are doing some sort of palette or collection called Spellcraft, which I think is intriguing. Can't wait to see what that looks like. And the final thing I need to share with you is this that's being teased from Nomad. This is going to be their Christmas release. You can just tell from the imaging. And the question is, of course, what this is going to be. This will be released on Tuesday, November 12th. And I am waiting what this is going to look like before I decide whether I'm going to be buying any Nomad cosmetics or not this season. I'm veering towards no. That's sort of where I'm going with this. This first shade isn't super intriguing, but if it's properly Christmas themed, I think I'm gonna like it. I'm expecting Odin's Eye to do a Christmas release as well. I think that's gonna be announced like sometime in November. There's definitely still a couple of brands where I expect them to do holiday releases that are probably going to be announced in November, which is why I very deliberately didn't buy a lot of products in the past couple of weeks, because I just know that leading up to Black Friday, I'm just going to have to make a list and decide what to actually buy. I will be doing a video later this month on telling you all about how I shop, not just Black Friday, but in general, and where I like to go for certain products. So maybe that's helpful for some people. And then I will also let you know what I do intend to buy for Black Friday. That's what I'm going to share with you, my wish list. It's going to be a smaller wish list. I sometimes, like, there have been years where I saved up certain purchases so I could get them for Black Friday, and this year I'm just not excited for a lot of things. My wish list has dwindled down to next to nothing. There's just a couple of bits from YESSTYLE I still want to get, or at least from Flower Nose, but I can get them through YESSTYLE. So there's a couple of bits there that I would like to get, I think. Maybe some Colourpop, Victoria Beckham, that's about it. But I'll share my actual wish list with you in that video that's coming up closer to Black Friday. And then I will also share some codes and stuff with you if that's what you're interested in. So thank you so very much for joining this video today. I hope it wasn't too rambly, but I had loads of new releases to get through again. And I definitely think we're not there yet, because we're right in the midst of all of these exciting releases being announced. I always feel this, like, September, October, November, that's where all the good stuff gets released. At least that's my opinion. So thank you so very much for joining me here today. Thumbs up this video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more by me. I do this kind of video once a month, but I do lots of other things throughout the months as well. So stay tuned for more, and then I hope to see you again in my next one. Bye-bye.